So, and before we start speaking about our solution, and before I show you how our B2B made solution works, let's speak about the current scenario in the market today. So B2B is a very common business model that we see across the world, and e-commerce is something that is also practiced quite widely across the world. We see thousands and millions of e-commerce websites that are there live today on which online transactions are happening. But the recent trends say that B2B organizations are adopting e-commerce very fast, and 80% of all the B2B buyers nowadays expect the same experience that they get when they buy from a B2C website. So as you can see, this chart which I have got from Statista Report 2017, it shows that in 2013, the annual volume of B2B sales was 5.8 trillion, which is expected to be 7.6 trillion in US dollars by the end of 2017. So the adoption of B2B e-commerce is rising very fast across the years. And to compare with the adoption of B2C e-commerce, you can see this is the difference. So B2C e-commerce sales by end of 2017 is being projected to become somewhere around 2.14 trillion, whereas B2B e-commerce sales is projected to be somewhere around 7.66 trillion. And the difference in the market value is around 258%. So as you can see, a B2B e-commerce is something that is getting adopted very fast, and gone are those days when B2B customers of yours would expect to communicate with you over offline methods, and would interact with sales reps over the calls or by meeting physically, or maybe even placing an order over the mail. So the B2B e-commerce is getting adopted very fast, and everyone expects a self-service kind of a platform where they can engage with your organization and can do their transactions. So when we talk about B2B e-commerce, so obviously B2B e-commerce would have a lot of similarities with the standard B2B cycles and processes, business processes that we see. But when we talk about B2B commerce, there are 5 most sought after features that we generally see B2B consumers expecting from a B2B portal or a website. So they are like finding the right product or the part. So when you're talking about a B2B business, there are supposed to be a lot of SKUs, and in certain industry verticals there are products and there are accessories and parts which are also purchased by the B2B customers. So putting up the catalog in a very user-friendly fashion where B2B customers can find their product or the parts or the accessories is very important. Okay, getting the right price based on the negotiated contract. So when we're talking about a B2B e-commerce, obviously this is going to be a B2B business to business scenario, and you as an organization would probably not offer your products at the same price to your different B2B customers. They will be probably segregated into different levels or different groups, and they would also would have different negotiated contracts with you, and they would expect the prices, their negotiated prices, to be shown when they come to your B2B portal. As I was saying, a self-service portal, and B2B customers are B2B customers are expecting B2C like features out of B2B portals nowadays. So they would expect to place orders without having to mail any of your sales representatives, or making any call to your customer service team, or meeting them physically. So they can directly place an order with the price that they have negotiated for, selecting the right product they want to place an order with, and without having an interaction over the mail or any other offline method. And again, getting a quote is also a very important thing in a B2B practices. So in B2B business models, in B2B e-commerce as well, people expect to get a quotation for the products with the right quantity that they want to buy, and specifically they want the quote to be with the agreed price levels that they have negotiated for. So all of it, they want it to be automated, so they do not want to request a quote and one day later they would receive a quote over the mail and then check it, and maybe there could be a mistake in the pricing. There could be a difference in pricing in comparison with what they have negotiated with. So it'll be a self-service portal where they can come create a quote and get the quote based on the agreed price levels. And quickly reordering is also something that B2B customers expect very frequently. So your B2B customers are mostly organizations who order in bulk. They order items in bulk, and most likely they are going to come back to you, and they are most likely supposed to place an order again with the same items, so they can quickly go back to their order history and click on one button and quickly make a reorder for one of their old orders. So these are like the most sought after B2B e-commerce features that B2B customers expect from a B2B portal, a full-fledged B2B platform or a portal. And some of the B2B business processes in e-commerce would be like this, to be in short. So a customer would register on a B2B account. So and the major reason why a lot of B2B customers are expecting B2C like features and behavioral patterns from a B2B website is that they are interacting with a lot of B2C, and they understand that the interaction has become a lot more easier, so they can get everything done on their own. They can check reviews, they can see prices, they can compare the prices that they're seeing on another website in the B2C model. So that is why they are influenced by that, and they expect the similar kind of features from a B2B portal as well. So a customer would ideally come to your B2B portal, register for an account, but then in B2B an account is not supposed to be directly created like that. So once they fill in their details with their company details, the tax details and everything, an account is created for them only after verifying those details, and they're associated with a customer level. So as I was saying, in B2B, I mean, there are supposed to be different levels, different groups in which customers are probably segregated to associate them with different kinds of pricing for the same products that is being sold to different customer groups. So prices would be allocated, particular levels would be allocated. In certain B2B business practices, credit limits are also allocated. There are payment terms like net 30, net 20. I mean, after how many days they need to clear their account balances. So after the account is created, all these things are allocated. The customers can come back anytime and create a quote with the items that they wish to buy, and the quote would be based on the prices, the negotiated prices that they have agreed with their organization. And gradually, when they finally get an approval from their organization internally, they would like to convert the quote into an order with their PO number as well, purchase order number as well. So then they proceed with the order. They can pay online, or they can pay later based on the credit limits they have, based on the payment terms they might have. So the orders would get approved before getting fulfilled. So unlike B2C, there are several approval levels, points where the order needs to get approved before it's getting fulfilled, because an order with some items in bulk amount, so it's a big order, the order total in monetary terms is also going to be big, so the order needs to get approved, and these items then get delivered either to the customer's warehouse office, or the customer can even at times choose to pick that item from a local regional warehouse of the B2B portal organization. And then the account balance, credit limits also get update as they gradually, over the period make the payment and they clear their account balance. So these are just in a brief the B2B cycle that is followed in any B2B business, specifically B2B e-commerce. So now let's talk about how we are trying to solve these issues, how we are trying to meet these expectations from B2B customers from your B2B portal. So if you are on Magento, we have a solution called B2BMage that can transform your Magento into a full-fledged B2B portal. So it's just not a plugin that adds a couple of features here and there in your Magento. It completely overhauls Magento and changes into a full-fledged B2B portal where the standard features of Magento continue to exist, but a lot of powerful B2B features are added. And just to give you a hint of the kind of B2B features we add to Magento are like this. You can have different kind of account types regarding item. We can have item visibility, control, price rules, and quick order, quotes, a lot of things. I will not be able to speak about all of them in in this webinar due to shortage of time, but I'll try and cover most of the important features that B2BMage covers and incorporates into Magento. So to go into each of these features one by one, the first is the user account types and the permissions that we add into Magento. So Magento by default, as you know, has got only one kind of entity, that is customer. But when you're into a B2B model, there are different kinds of entities that you deal with. So there are maybe a B2C accounts in your website. So in case you're also selling to end customers, consumers through your website, so there would be B2C accounts as well. If you are dealing with the B2B customers, then you are supposed to have different kinds of people interacting. So there could be a company account for that B2B customer, and then there could be multiple contact persons from that B2B customer organization who is going to interact with your B2B portal and check prices and place order. And then again, when multiple contact persons of a B2B organization is interacting with your B2B portal and placing orders, now all of these contact persons might not be holding the same designation, might not have the same privileges in their own organization. So while three, four contact persons might be there from one B2B customer, maybe two of them, maybe two or three of them are like normal people from the purchase department, and maybe one of them is a purchase manager, or maybe a CFO of that organization who overlooks every order that is being placed from their organization from your B2B portal. So then you can assign different kinds of privileges to these accounts. So these are contact persons can have a admin privilege, or it could have a standard privilege. Now admin privilege, so the contact person with an admin privilege could see all the orders placed by the other contact persons from that organization, and even can add new contact persons for their organization in your B2B portal. While the contact person holding the standard privilege would only be able to place orders for their organization, and can only see the orders that are placed by themselves, by that individual contact person. They cannot see all the orders placed by the other contact persons of that organization from your B2B portal. Next comes the sales rep account. So while we are trying to provide a B2C like experience to B2B your customers of yours, it'll be still very difficult for your B2B customers to completely come off their standard practice and go online and get into a self-service portal and do everything on their own. So we need to provide an intermediate step where they can still be somewhere in the middle, and they can adopt to your B2B portal gradually. So that's why you also get to have sales rep accounts in your Magento store. Sales rep accounts in your Magento store who would be associated with your B2B customer accounts, and these sales reps can get a call at times, or might even meet your B2B customers in an industrial fair, and they can get an order request, or they might even get a mail from a B2B customer of yours, and they can log into your portal and select one of those B2B customers of yours, and they can place an order for that B2B customer, and the order would be placed based on the prices that are negotiated for that B2B customer. So sales reps can continue to play their role, the important role that they have always played in offline conventional B2B business practices as well. So your B2B customers would have both the options: come through the sales rep like they have done before and eventually adopt to your B2B portal, or they can have an account and any of their contact persons can come in and place an order. So that was the most important feature that we add to Magento in terms of B2B. Next is the item visibility. So in the B2B model, this is a very common feature that we see people asking for, is having a visibility of products controlled based on the customers. So all customers would not get to see all the entire catalog of products, SKUs that you have showcased in your Magento. So you can have product categories that you selectively make visible to certain customer groups of yours, and we have recently even added this feature that certain customers can be selectively made in such a way that not based on customer groups, but customer specific product visibility can also be enabled. Okay. So item visibility is a very important feature that we add to Magento through our B2B module. Next is the price rule. So this is again, apart from the different kind of account entities, this is the next more important feature. In B2B, in a B2B business model, in a B2B e-commerce business model, you're not supposed to probably have the same price, the same pricing rule for all your customers. Okay, so you are supposed to have different pricing groups. You are supposed to probably cater to different kind of B2B customers, maybe wholesalers, maybe distributors, maybe different levels based on the contract that you have, based on the number of orders that they have placed, the number of years of association they have with you. So the pricing rules are supposed to be there and is very important in any B2B business model. So just like any standard line of business applications like ERP on accounting or accounting applications where you have price lists, here in the Magento also we enable the feature of having price lists, and individual price lists can then be allocated to customer. So one item can have 3 prices in 3 different price lists, and you just simply allocate a price list to a customer. So that way you can have a complete set of prices for all products for one customer, and then another set of prices for all products for another customer. Then comes customer specific tier price. So we all know, I mean, if you're already a Magento user, or if you have extensively worked with Magento, you would know that Magento has the tier price feature in Magento since a very long time, since the days of Magento 1.X series, and it is very frequently used. But then again, in Magento, what you had and you still have in the Magento 2.X version is customer group specific tier price. So you have to segregate customers into groups and then allocate a tier price. And for those who doesn't know what a tier price is basically a volume discount, where you define that if a customer buys a particular item in this amount and above, in X number of units or more, they get a certain percentage of discount, and the unit price is this. So that is what you have in Magento by default, but we have taken this a step further, and which is very much sought after in the B2B business processes. We have a customer specific tier price option. So customer specific, in a customer specific way, you can have a tier price. So for every customer, you can have a customer specific tier price. In a similar way, Magento also had this special price feature, which was there based on items. So one item could have one special price. So in this case, we have enabled a customer specific special price. So one customer can have a special discount on a particular item or on a series of items based on a time period. So you can define the start date, the end date, and the items on which one particular customer can get a special price. Then comes the customer specific category discount. So to one particular B2B customer, maybe for a time period as an offer, as a promotional offer, or as a part of the contract that you have, you can give off a discount on a particular category of products out of your entire catalog of product. Then additional customer specific discount on order is also there. So you can have the customer account, the B2B customer account, and you can dedicate a percentage that is going to work as like a flat discount on any product that the customer wishes to buy or attempts to buy. Next is the priority rule. So with so many pricing rules being there, and that can be configured in Magento through our B2BMage solution, it often appears that due to the complicated complicated practices, multiple rules might get applicable on one customer. So maybe a customer specific price is also applicable, and then maybe he has ordered in a high volume, so a tier price is also being made applicable. So it becomes important that we prioritize the rule. So we also have this feature in Magento that you can prioritize the rules, or you can say that maybe for a particular customer, if multiple rules are applicable, the Magento logic should take up the lowest figure for the items. Next is the order placement. So orders can be placed by the contact persons, as I mentioned, on behalf of their organization. Contact persons with the admin privilege can monitor all the orders that his organization has placed. So any contact person of that organization has placed, and they can also add new contact persons or even remove the old contact person. So it might happen that one of the contact persons from that B2B customer of yours has probably left the organization, and someone new has joined in his place. So the old contact person account can be deleted and a new contact person account can be created by this contact person holding the admin privilege, and most likely it could be the purchase manager or someone from the managerial post, a C-level employee. Next is the contact person with the standard privilege. So all these general contact persons from that organization, from their purchase department, maybe their procurement department, they can see the orders that are placed by themselves, and they can of course place orders for their organization as well. Order approval. So this is again is a very standard approach in B2B cycle. So these in B2B business model, orders are being placed in bulk. So orders need to be approved in most cases, as we have seen. So an order approval cycle can be configured, and you can also define the value, and you can allocate it to a contact person. So it's like you can give the order value as $1,000, and you can have different levels. So if the order value is above 1,000 US dollars, contact person A would have to approve it. Okay. If it is above 6,000, then contact person B would have to approve it. Okay, so you can have if your contact persons from your B2B organization are having different kind of privileges in the organization based on their designation in the organization, they can be allocated with these different order values based on which they can approve an order. So basically the order is going to be placed by any contact person of that organization, but someone holding a higher designation from that organization can approve the order before someone from your organization approves, before someone from your organization attempts to fulfill the order. Credit limit is again something very important in B2B businesses, in B2B cycle. So customers, there are payment terms, net 30, net 60, and the credit limits are being offered to certain customers. So credit limits can be maintained in Magento, and credit limits can also be configured as a payment method. So when they're placing an order, in the last step of placing the order, they can in general, in B2C we see they can place an order paying online. So in here as well, the customer might, based on configuration, this is achievable that the customer may opt to make an online payment for the order, or they can select the credit limit as the payment method, and they can right away place the order, and the order total would be deducted from their available balance, and the credit limit would also be updated based on the order amount that has been consumed. So credit limit can be maintained in Magento. And the next is the order edit. So in B2B, although everything is in B2B commerce, although everything is supposed to be a self-service kind of a platform where everything is supposed to be done all by the customer interacting with your website, but then again customers often place a bulk order and they want to edit the order, maybe change the item, maybe change the particular product. So the contact person with the approver rights, with the admin rights, can add, update, or remove products from an order that has already been placed. And in Magento, ideally, if you edit an order, the order is cancelled and a new order is created with a changed order ID. But the idea is the order should be allowed to be edited and changed without cancelling the order or without changing the order ID, because if you're into a B2B model, it's most likely that you're probably going to have your B2B e-commerce portal connected with your other line of business applications, like maybe your CRM, maybe your ERP, and an already synced or synced order from your Magento with the other line of business application. If the order ID gets changed in Magento, it is going to be a problem and issue to look after. So for that reason, we have added this feature of order edit, where anything can be done to that order. The order can be edited without changing the order ID. Quick order is also something which is quite sought after in B2B business processes. So in B2B businesses, your B2B customers are probably going to be your old customers, and they're repeat customers, and they're going to come to your website every time and place an order, and they are probably going to place orders for the same thing every time. most of the times. So they probably in a hurry might not prefer going to the entire catalog and filter through the attributes and place an order. So in the dashboard we have a quick order option where they can quickly type in the first few letters of the SKU of an item, and it can immediately get added to the cart, and they can place the order with that. And in case they are when in case they are adding a quote, they can create a quote based on the prices allocated to the organization, and then that can be even converted to an order. So before going into the success stories, let me show you a short demonstration of our B2B Mage module working in action in a Magento dummy store that we have created. It's the standard Magento template that you're seeing, and we have the B2B Mage installed in it. So I'll not be going into very much depth and showing all the features. That would take more than an hour to show. So I'll just quickly show you some of the features from the backend and some of the features from the front end as your B2B customers would be interacting with your website involving these B2B features. So let me primarily show you the different kind of accounts that we create in Magento for the different kind of entities that would be interacting with your website. So for example, this is a B2B account, a B2B company that we have created in this Magento, and so we have segregated the kind of customers that you can have in your Magento as a B2B or a B2C. So once allocated, it is going to be a B2B customer over here, and you cannot change it to a B2C customer. We maintain a credit limit for this account, which also gets shown up as a payment method when any contact person from this organization is going to place an order. And some orders had already been placed for this account, which has not been cleared yet. So the available balance is a bit less than their actual credit limit. And this is the price list. So there can be multiple price lists that can be maintained in Magento, and you can assign the price list to a particular customer, and for each price list you can define a discount percentage which is going to work on the base price of the items. This is the additional discounts. So if you have all the other discount rules being applicable on a particular customer, customer specific tier price, customer specific special price, category specific discounts, so then you can have a flat percentage of discount for this customer on all products. Next is the category discount. So this is where the pricing starts. You can select any one of the categories and you can give a discount percentage, and you can have it as a active or inactive, and once you activate this particular customer is going to get this discount on this particular category of products. Okay, so this is about the credit transaction. So under this account, all the orders that have been placed can be seen. And before I go to the approvers, let me show you the contact persons. So this B2B company account in your Magento store can have multiple contact persons. So these are, for example, 3 contact persons that are there for this B2B company, and this is how they are. So each contact person can be given 2 kinds of roles: an administrative role or a standard role. As I mentioned, a contact person with the administrative role can add new contact persons, can delete existing contact persons, and can also see all the orders placed by the other contact persons of this organization, while a contact person with standard privilege can only place orders and can see the orders that has been placed by himself. So these are the other details that can be filled up and maintained for this customer. Next is the address. Okay, so now comes the approver. So as you can see, one contact person can be allocated with a minimum order value. So for example, if it's 400 USD, so any order which has got an order total above 400 needs to be approved by this contact person before getting fulfilled by this merchant owning this Magento store. So it could be multiple contact persons with different order values, and you can add an approver over here. Okay, and organizations can also have a wish list which they can add from the front end, and it can be shown over here. So now let me show you the sales rep from the back end, then I'll show you how the interactions takes place from the front end. So there can be there can be sales representative accounts in the Magento who would be in touch with your B2B customers through the offline methods as well, and they can place an order for them on your Magento store as well. So this is, for example, one sales representative, and one sales representative can be associated with multiple B2B company accounts. So as you can see, this sales rep is assigned, is associated with 3 B2B customers. So from the front end, let me show you how a sales rep can log in and place an order for an account. So I'm logging in as the sales rep, and in the dashboard I get an option called customer list, where I can see all the B2B company accounts with which I'm associated. So this is one company account. So I click on login and I get into that company. Now I can further log in as one of the contact persons of this organization. So I'll just quickly log in as contact person, which has got the admin right. And now I'm logged in as one of the contact persons, and I can place orders. I can manage contact persons, as I was saying. So I can add new contact persons. Okay, I can delete them, and there is the quick order option. So I can type in maybe the first few letters of an SKU and it'll come up. I can quickly add it over here, put in the quantity, and add it to the cart and place an order. So this is how I can log in. So now let me log out again. And go to the pricing. So I'll place an order as a contact person from this organization, but let me show you the advanced pricing options that we have also. So for as we mentioned, that we have enabled the feature of maintaining different price lists in Magento. So you can have multiple price lists. So just for example, for giving a demonstration, I've created 2 price lists, dealer level 1 and dealer level 2. So for this particular customer that I was showing, I probably assigned dealer level 1 and the discount factor is 10. So this is the thing. So dealer level 1 is the name. I can have it on. So this price list can work on that discount percentage on another price list or on the base price of the product. And you can also define which products would be enabled for this price list. So all the products in your Magento store need not get associated with this price list. So you can allocate items to one price list. And the other pricing options are like tier price, which is again customer specific. So in standard Magento, we get to see tier price based on customer groups. So here we are having the tier price based on the customer. So for this particular customer, we can have the tier price based on the price list that we want to allocate. And then we can define the item and the quantity and the price for this particular customer. Okay. So for 10, if I buy this particular item in quantities 10 or more, I'd get the unit price as 800. So this is basically the unit price. So in the same way, I have the special price, which again also works on a customer specific manner. So I can have a special price allocated for a particular customer based on the date. So from one start date to an end date, this particular customer would be given a fixed percentage of discount. And the products can also be allocated. So it's not again all products that would be offered on this particular discount and special price to this one particular customer. And as I was talking about the order, so now let me quickly go to the front end and let me show you one item, for example. So now that I'm not logged in, this is a standard retail price that is being shown, that is 1200 USD. Okay, so now let me log in as one of the contact persons of that organization. So as you can see, it has become 1200 to 1080 because this particular organization is associated with the dealer level 1 price list, and I had 10% discount. So after 10% discount, this is the value that is coming. So now let me add it to cart, and I had the customer specific tier price, as in if a customer buys in numbers 10 or more, it would be 800 as a unit price. So if I buy 11, so as I buy 11, the unit price has dropped down to 800 because that is the customer specific tier price. So I go to checking out. So this is my available credit limit. It is already being shown to me. I can select any of the dummy addresses that I have. I can select a shipping method. And in the payment method, I have the option of, like, if you had a payment gateway, you would have the, if you had an online payment option, that would show your, for this demonstration, I have the credit limit being configured to be offered as a payment method. So I can select the credit limit and place an order, and automatically the credit limit would get updated. Okay, so the order has been placed, but now let me log in as the contact person with the admin privilege. So this was a contact person with a general privilege. So let me now log in as a contact person with admin privilege. Okay, so if I go to approve orders, and how it works is basically once the order is being placed, an automated email notification also goes to the contact person with the admin privilege, notifying that an order has been approved and an order has been placed and you need to approve it. So ideally in Magento you find these statuses as like pending, processing and complete, but in here we have also allocated a status called on hold unless the order is approved. So an order has to be approved by the contact person before it has been before it is fulfilled. Okay, let me check if I have the mail. Yeah, so this is the mail that has been sent to me requesting an approval. So I can log in to my account and see that it needs an approval. It is an on hold process. So I approve it. And the order would now appear in my order section and it can be fulfilled. So in the B2B, in the configuration panel, we can mention whether the order approval mail would be sent or not. For the pricing configuration, priceful configuration, we can allocate the priority to each of the pricing rules. So if you can completely disable this priority rule or enable it and then allocate a price, we allocate a priority to a price rule, or you can just make it as the lowest one that would be applicable. And the customer category wise thing can also be based on all customer groups or customer wise. So these are the most most important features that people really they look for in a B2B portal. And there are a lot of other features which we can definitely show to you if you get in touch with us, and we can schedule a one-to-one session, and we can walk you through all the other features of our B2B Mage solution as well. And so we'd just like to give an example of one of our customers who is using B2B Mage for their B2B portal that they have built on Magento. So Richardson Sports is one of our customers who is using B2B Mage on their Magento portal. They have around 8,000 plus B2B customers that interact with their website, and they have around 23,000 SKUs in their Magento portal, and they get around 500 to 800 orders every day. And they have recently adopted B2B Ecommerce through Magento, so the order numbers are probably going to become more in the coming months and years. And these are some of the, so they have a very customized B2B portal where we have extended our B2B Mage solution for them as well. So these are some of the standard features that they're using of our B2B Mage solution, but we have done some extensive feature development on our B2B Mage for their business specific needs as well. So they needed an online portal with B2B capabilities for catering to their resellers, their dealers, and also their sales representatives that interact with their B2B customers. So their sales representatives often visit trade fairs and interact with the customers, visit their offices, and they also get often calls from their B2B customers. So sales representatives then log in to their Magento portal and place the orders for the customer based on the negotiated pricing rule that is there, prices that are there. So they also have different user rights among the contact persons. They're using this feature on Magento that we offer. So different contact persons have different rights, user rights in their Magento, and they approve orders. Credit limits are there for the dealers who interact with their website. Multiple price lists are there, 6, 7 or more than that, probably multiple price lists are there for the different dealer levels that they have. And they also have dealer specific catalogs, so all the catalogs are not generic in nature, so certain catalogs are made visible to certain specific dealers of there. And order edit is also being used quite extensively by them because they have the Magento B2B portal connected with some other line of business applications that they use. I think they're probably using SAP Business One integrated through our integration platform AppSy Connect only. So it often happens that the orders needs to be edited on the Magento, or at times the order is even edited on the other solution that they're using in their SAP Business One ERP. So then we sync back the update into Magento, or sometimes when the editing is being done on the Magento, we push it into the other platform. So order edit is very extensively used by them, where items get removed, added, or changed, quantities get changed, and we allow this order editing without canceling the order or without changing the standard Magento order ID. So I have Shubhajit with me, and he'll join us for going through the questions that we have received through this session. Shubhajit, are you there? I think Shubhajit is facing some issue, and he's probably not being able to join. Anyway, so I will go through the questions. Anyways, okay, so I'll just quickly go through the questions that we have received. We have received quite a few questions, and I'll just probably be able to answer to a couple of them due to shortage of time. So the first question is your Magento B2B extension compatible with Magento Enterprise 2.X? Yes, our B2B module is compatible with the Magento Enterprise version, but then again, as we have already heard, Magento is also probably coming up with its own B2B package very soon. But as of now, our B2B module is already being used by a lot of Magento enterprise users as well. So moving forward, when Magento comes out with their B2B solution, it has to be seen whether they are offering the same features or not. We have already a hinted list that we have received from Magento, so they appear to be quite similar. But then the community version of Magento would not be getting that B2B offering from Magento. So for doing B2B e-commerce on Magento community extensively, this would be the solution you'd probably need to go for. The second question is, will B2B work on a website or a Magento installation? Okay, so B2BMage has been exclusively developed and created for Magento, and it took us a lot of time. So it was basically not uh, this many set of features from the very first day. So this is something that we have enhanced over the years. This is almost 4 years old, and we probably started with a couple of features, and now we have added a lot of features, and we're also constantly enhancing the features on this B2B module. So even if you buy this module and we in future add new features, enhance this module, you'd be getting a piece of those enhanced features as well. Okay, we have received another question. How to manage customer specific tier price? Is it available? Yes, I think this is already discussed. I've shown you how you can have a customer specific tier price, unlike what used to be offered on a standard Magento. That was a customer group specific tier price. So that continues to be there. We don't override that. I mean, Magento still has that feature. You can use it. But if you want customer specific tier price, that as well can definitely be enabled through Magento. Okay, there are a couple of more questions, but I think we are running short on time, so we probably have to answer those questions over the mail. So if you want to know more about how the, okay, I'd like to provide my colleagues with this webinar. Is it going to be uploaded to any place to be accessible online? Yes, definitely. We will be uploading a recording of this webinar on YouTube, and we'd also be mailing the link of this recorded webinar to all our attendees. For company needing integration with SAP Business One, how customized does B2B may need to be customized? So, so ideally, in 80% of the cases, we don't need to customize our B2B Mage solution, as it is highly configurable. So in most of the cases, we just configure it based on the customer's needs, and it caters to a set of requirements a customer has. But in case you have something beyond what is being offered, we are pretty much flexible on that part as well, and we can customize. Do we have a lot of other questions as well? Okay, so we'd probably not be able to take any more questions today as we are short on time. So yes, we'll be sending you a link to the recorded webinar right away. Uh, and if you want to know more about our B2B solution, if you want us to walk you through the solution in more details and describe to you how it exactly works, and in real life scenarios how the B2B Mage is used, we can definitely set up one-to-one sessions and demonstrate to you. So for any more questions that you might have later, you can definitely reach out to us at sales@insync.co.in, or fill up the contact us form at insync.co.in /contact, and we'll get back to you. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. We look forward to further association with all of you.